into the courtroom at all because it's not documented.
No, there was no picture taken of it. There was all this evidence. There's pictures taken of all this evidence in the crime scene. But the one thing they used against me at trial was magically not documented and appeared out of nowhere. I believe in my mind, I don't know, it was planned. You're wrongfully convicted of something. People don't want to believe that the justice system works like that, but it absolutely does in some certain twisted cases.
Yeah, there's tens of thousands of people wrongfully incarcerated. Most of them don't get as much time as you. I think that the sentencing alone shows the bias and prejudice in your case. So these people who are supposed to be professionals investigating this crime scene found a magical water bottle, and even their integrity is questionable. The lead investigator,
The
Chad,
lead investigator,
yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chad Powell. The funny story about that is Chad Powell is actually from my hometown. I knew him and his daughter when I was growing up. The first thing that pops in my head about Chad Powell is that he was actually fired from my hometown police department several years before I was arrested. He was found to be operating an illegal tattoo parlor from his home while tattooing was still illegal in Oklahoma, and he was doing this while an active duty member of the police department.
So he knew who you were.
Yeah, Chad Powell he knew who I was, not only just because of being on a television show and being small town famous, as they would say, but because we were actually from the same town at one point. He gets fired from my county, goes to the next county over, literally, and becomes the lead investigator.
It's crazy. So I read through the stuff and I saw that the nephew got a hold of police without knowing that police were looking for him.
Yeah, that's something my lawyer had brought up during trial. Is Jeremy Roebuck's nephew had actually went to, I believe, the Marlow Police Department and confessed, I did not do this. I had no part of it. The crazy part about that is the police were still casing the crime scene. Nobody had let out any information from the scene. So how would you know to go proclaim your innocence, so to speak?
Yeah, and why wouldn't you be checking on your uncle who was shot instead of trying to run and say I didn't do this, right?
Yeah, that's a question. Yeah, that's a question for Jeremy Roebuck and him alone. I think I know the answer, but and I think a lot of people, if they use common sense, they could probably get it. But that's a question for him for
So
sure.
he had no idea anybody was even speculating that it was him, yet he runs to the police station and says I didn't do it.
Yeah, and that always blew my mind too, and that's something that my lawyer thought was really weird. How are you going to know, for one, that you're even a suspect in the case, without when nothing has been released, when the detectives are still working the crime scene actively?
Okay, so again, this is going to be a long one. We're going to have to do quite a few of these because there's so much going on. But let's just say, okay, so the crime happened in January, and in November, you're arrested, right?
Yes, after they had already arrested Jeremy Roebuck and let him go. Yeah, I was arrested in 11 and a half months after the crime occurred.
Okay, and who brought you into the case? Like, who brought your name up?
My name got brought into the hat by, it's really actually a complicated story, but this is what we're here for, right?
Right.
Okay, mine got brought to the hat by a kid named Michael McKay. Excuse me. Michael McKay was arrested previously for robbing the local Nazarene church from the town that I lived in. He had like 6 or 8 active counts. At the time that he was caught brandishing a firearm pointing at people. Okay, so he was taken in for that charge. And upon being taken in, they ran an NCIC, which is a computer program that's ran on stolen weapons. It's a registry. So that weapon popped up, stolen from a home invasion style robbery out of Comanche. Well, once questioned and interrogated about where did you get this firearm, he said that he got it from John Oxford and my residence. Now, with that being said, he further expounded and said that he found it in a laundry hamper in my room. What's important about all this is, for one, uh, my roommate's room over the laundry room, which is where all the laundry hampers are kept. Uh, at trial, he went on to say that he was very familiar with the house, that he had came over 15 to 30 times. I can't remember the exact individual there. And but what's funny about that is, what I don't even think he realized is, I had just moved into this house with John Oxford in late September. So from the time he is said to break into the house in October to me moving in September, that's literally, we're looking at less than a month. So how could you have came over to my house almost 30 times um, in the course of the month, unless you're coming over every day? And that's absolutely 100% not the case.
Right. And
I don't.
he lied. One of his first statements is the lie, saying that he had barely known you at all, like maybe a year or whatnot. And yet you guys went to like elementary, junior high together, all right?
Absolutely, that's true. Michael McKay, yeah, I actually remember when he moved to town. He came from Geronimo after, I'm not going to put his personal business out here, but after a traumatic family
I
experience.
will. He moved over there because his mother was put in prison for essaying one of her students. But you can continue.
Yes, but anyway, yeah, we were on some of the same junior high sports teams. We went from junior high all the way to graduation together. I knew him for many years. He was never one of my peers, so I never hung out.